2, 3. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome. This is another Chant Down UTC collaboration. Actually, this is number 11, and we are also doing What Are Humans Part 3. So welcome, Triffin. Welcome back. And
G'day,
it's
mate.
great to talk to you.
Yeah, it's always good, man. Been looking forward to this one. We fell down some rabbit holes from the last time. I fell down some rabbit holes, and I know you did as well. So where do we want to start, mate? We're trying to we're not going to pick up where we left off because we want to go back before we go forward.
Right.
Because, yeah, I fell down a skeleton rabbit hole because we kept asking those questions. Do we have skeletons? Do we have skeletons? And it was quite an interesting set of data that I came up with. So did you want to start there, or where did you want to start, mate?
Yeah, let's start there. And I think the we kind of, maybe if you almost could dedicate this series to Lloyd Pye. I mean, it's kind of what opened it up, but that was his book was written a while ago, and so there's more stuff to put on the table, I'd say. Right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with the skeleton stuff that I dived into, I actually purposely didn't go through Lloyd's book because I wanted to see what I could find. And I'm curious. Now I've found this, I'm going to read Lloyd's book and see how they correlate. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure you'll be surprised to learn that it's all built on a bed of sand.
No, I would never think that. Never.
So we had questions. We had questions that we kept asking ourselves. And the first one was, do you want me to start? Do you want to start here?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's
go.
Yeah. So the first question we had was Denisovan, right? So Denisovan skeletons, do we have one? The answer is no. No, we don't. Okay. So, I mean, and I think if you think about all the stuff you've heard about Denisovans and their mating patterns and how they eat and what they did and their tools and blah, 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 and it goes on and on, how many PhDs have been written about Denisovans? We don't have a skeleton.
Wow.
The Dragon Man skull was found in 1933 in the back of a shop in China, and it wasn't revealed until 2018, and it wasn't confirmed that it was Denisovan until this year, I think. There was a big article that came out. We covered that on part one, I think, with the Dragon Man skull, and that's at least 146,000 years old. Is the Dragon Man skull, and in the Denisova cave, which is where they found that's where the Denisova name comes from. It was literally a single finger bone, man.
That's
right.
it.
So imagine you got your 10 fingers. Imagine a section of your finger. That's it. That's it. And a few teeth. And that's all they found in the Denisova cave. And so I'm like, okay. And there was a jawbone found in Tibet as well. And that's it. We don't have much more than that at all. Right.
Wow.
And what I found fascinating with that is that in the Denisova cave, it was fossils from Neanderthal, Denisovans, and early human. Okay, I used the inverted commas there. And I thought, okay, well, what was found in the Denisova cave? And I did keep all of the. I had like a heap of tabs open when I was doing the research, so I thought I'd bring them back up for today. And some of the stuff, it's interesting. Let's see, that was the one.
Yes, lots of tabs open. That's me as well. I can just look
it
at all
never
these
ends.
tabs.
It never ends.
Yeah,
it never ends. Actually, hang on a second. Zero mistakes, mate. Zero mistakes here at UTC. Chant it down. Because it's the jewelry in the Denisova cave that I found the most fascinating, and I thought they did have a picture of the things that they found, and I just thought I'd share that with you quickly.
Yeah, let's see that.
Where are we? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so they only found us just a tiny bit, huh?
Yeah, not
Okay.
much, man. It's nothing. And the thing is, it's that these are the tools that they found inside the cave. Okay, we can see here. There's multiple rings. There was a needle. There was some spear points. There was some jewelry, some pendants, all found in this Denisovan cave. Now, this green bracelet is the one, that was a cuff, they think, and it had a hole drilled straight through the middle of it. Now, that's pretty impressive to me,
And that is that
considering it.
onyx? No.
It is. It is. I should have written that down, shouldn't I? There's always more to write down. It
Sure.
is a two fragments of the bracelet were found. The bracelet was narrow, therefore worn by a woman. And this is the thing, so they say, right?
Yeah.
Dark green coloured material. Bracelet reflected sun rays exposed to sunlight, cast a deep shade of green by the night fire.
Oops.
Oh, no
All
need,
good.
no need to throw everything around, mate. Just calm down.
Sometimes I just do that. All right.
And I was trying to see. Here we go. Chlorostrolite, a naturally occurring mineral. Now, the hole was drilled using high rotation drilling. Both techniques were believed to be invented much later. Okay, so when we talk about the bracelet that was found in the Denisova cave, it is a piece of OOP art. It is an out of place artifact. It should not be there.
Definitely.
And, obviously the needle points, the bone points as well were pretty interesting. However, that's the stuff they found. Now, what I found fascinating about the Denisova cave is that, like I said, Neanderthal, Denisovans, and early humans, right? There was the other stuff that they found there was a Neanderthal toe bone, right? So now we're even talking even smaller, right? So there was a finger bone and a tiny bit of a jaw bone and some teeth found in the Denisova cave, and a toe bone from a Neanderthal found in the same cave. Now, the thing about all this research that I did on the skeletons is it's like we found a partial bone. That was a term that I found over and over and over again. A partial bone. What the hell is a partial bone, man? Like we
Yeah.
could be talking anything. It's a scrap piece of bone, basically. And they found the reason they reckon that Neanderthals and Denisovans mated is that in the Denisova cave they found a partial bone from a child. They call it Denny, and it's Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA within that bone. So that's it. When they say mating habits of Denisovans and then Neanderthals and this, that, and the other, and they extrapolate PhDs and blah 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 blah, and it goes on and on and on. It is literally from a partial bone found in a cave.
Wow,
That's it.
that's so little. That's really little to go off.
And they're building entire skeletons, Denisovan skeletons, out of this stuff, right? And again, remember that the Dragon Man skull was not found or not deemed a Denisovan until the last couple of years. So all the stuff that is, again, it's extrapolated over so little, and it's hard to encapsulate. When I'm like, how do they do that? Like, how do we don't know anything about that? It staggers me to think how they can do that. Now, how I said there was early human, right? So
Yeah.
basically, that green bracelet, they considered that to be early human because no species before that could actually do the job, right? No species before that could make the pendants, use the drill and have the bone needle and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The Homo sapien as evidence in the Denisova cave, they just say it was sediment. It was DNA found in sediment. Now I translate that into is they found some shit, right? They
Yeah.
basically, but it was one of those cyclical rabbit holes, Leumas. You get into those cyclical rabbit holes. It's like, what is the early human evidence in the Denisova cave? They found it in the sediment. What did they find in the sediment? They found it in the sediment. What was the evidence? They found human DNA in the sediment. You know,
Yeah.
you've been down these rabbit holes, right? Where it just sort of
Yeah.
keeps looping on itself over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
So, well, what did they find? Actually, did they find anything, or they just can't say that there was a previous civilization or a previous hominid that had that technological advancement, that they can't say that, so they're just going to say they found evidence. It was like, okay, then what is the evidence? And I circled around this for a while. I'm like, well, what? Tell me, was it poo? Is that what you found? You found old human poo in there, or what? And it's like, no, they
How?
found stuff. They found stuff in the sediment. So what did they do? They tested dirt, and out of that dirt, human DNA came. How did they know what dirt to test? If you keep circling around that question, it doesn't lead you anywhere. It's just basically there was early humans in the Denisova cave. They found it in the sediment. That's it.
That's and who's to say that later on, like I kind of mentioned this in the last episode, I think, that indigenous people could have came and lived in that cave too and made that jewelry instead of
Absolutely.
Denisovans. I mean,
Mm.
how's that not possible? And how can they? Yeah, that's just about everything. It's like if you and I were, well, what we're doing with like sacred site, for example, we're giving evidence of a lost ancient, culture that did incredible things like move stones and all kinds of stuff. We
Mm.
have more evidence in our own little uh, you know uh, grassroots research than
Mm.
these people have to give us. It's
That's right. And
Yeah,
they've written doctorates about it.
right.
Yeah. There's books, there's countless books, and you name it. Now, so that's it with Denisovans. That's it. And I think they've sequenced the DNA so they know that some of us have Denisovan DNA. Now, that's it. There was a what was there? Something's found in Tibet as well. Too many notes. A jawbone was found in Tibet. Okay, so the Denisovan stuff's mainly found in Europe. All right,
Okay.
so there's a jawbone found in Tibet. There was the Denisova cave, and that's it. That's it. They're all anything about Denisovans. That's it. So then the next question was, do we have a Neanderthal skeleton? The answer to that is quite interesting. Google says yes, we have Neanderthal skeletons. There's the Altamura man found in 1993 in a sinkhole in Italy. Now he's quite fascinating, and when we say it's the most full skeleton that you can find, that's fascinating as well, because it looks like it's sort of like melted in a pot.
What year was this? Sorry.
1993
Oh, this is
was
pretty recent. Okay.
pretty
Yeah.
recent, and
Yeah.
this is the thing; they're all recent. Here we go. And some of these pictures are a little bit creepy, right? They very much are. Here, I'll just share this with you so you can see that. And but then they say and what I found fascinating about this stuff is that a Google will give you a yes, we have found them, right? So this is the one of the most complete Neanderthal skeletons that was found in a sinkhole, and it's been fossilized, and the whole sinkhole's been fossilized,
Oh wow.
and it's like, okay, that's the most complete skeleton, right? You can see there's a scan of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they reckon it's like we have like 300. Scientists have found remains of 300 Neanderthal skeletons. But then they go, and Google go, yes, we definitely have a Neanderthal skeleton. And then like you scroll down and you start looking, and it's like, oh, well, yes is actually subjective. We don't really have a full skeleton. We've got a lot of partial skeletons, and we've basically got all those partial skeletons, and between all those, we've made a skeleton. Okay. And there's the old man of La Chapelle found in a cave in 1908. I think the thing about Neanderthals is that they're found all over Europe.
Mm,
They're everywhere. Like again, this is when we find evidence of these skeletons, they're across multiple continents, Loomis. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, how are they across multiple continents? They didn't have boats, right? Did they all just coexist at the same time? They didn't have boats. They didn't have a way to get across there, and they will say that it's like, oh no, they weren't advanced enough to have boats. They could drill a hole in green jewelry though. They could drill a hole in. They can make needle bones. They can make pendants and all that sort of stuff. But they're
So we're
they
led to
definitely.
believe. Yeah.
So we're led to believe exactly. Well, actually,
That's like the
that's
saying of
because.
our show.
And I think to steal from Grant in the live we went live a little while ago. It's all trust me, bro. You know what I mean? Trust me, bro. We've got one. It's
Yeah.
okay. Don't worry about it.
I like that.
And yeah, it's great. Then I found down. Then I fell down a different rabbit hole because in the old man of La Chapelle, he was found in a cave in 1908. Shanidar 3 was found in Iraq in the 1950s. So here we go. So we're in France, we're in Iraq, we're in Africa. That's that's three very different places, very far away from each other.
Yeah.
And then they go, before Neanderthal was Homo heidelberg genesis. I'd never
Oh
heard
wow.
of that one.
Me neither.
No. And is it, oh no, it's high. I thought it was like the Breaking Bad. No, that's Heisenberg, isn't it? I thought,
Heisenberg. That's just
yeah,
so funny, synchronistic. I just finished that show again for the first time. Yeah.
yeah, right, yeah, right.
It,
That's an excellent show. That everyone
it
should,
is. It is.
yeah,
I mean,
that's a
it might be the best show I've ever seen on TV. Probably is.
oh,
I
it's
mean, it's
unbelievable.
just yeah, it's awesome. But anyway, Heisenberg.
Yeah, you don't waste your time with that one. It's an
No.
amazing show.
Hmm. But you know, so you're saying these skeletons are kind of found all over, but
Hmm.
but they're are they really the same? Is the question.
This is the question, right? This is the question. The Homo heidelberg genesis, the genome hasn't been mapped yet, so we don't know whether or not we are related. Whether or not we have any DNA of this skeleton. The most of the remains of the Heidelberg Genesis, Homo Heidelberg Genesis, were found in the Sema cave, which is in Portugal. Now they're saying they dating that out to 400,000 plus years old. But in the Sema cave, it's a weird thing, right? It's like most Neanderthal evidence comes from the Sema cave. Most Heidelberg evidence comes from the Sema cave. There's about 30, they reckon remains of 30 different skeletons in that cave. And how are they separating them? How are they actually looking at that is an interesting question. I fell down a bit more of a deeper rabbit hole with this Heidelberg because apparently they existed between Homo erectus and Neanderthal. So we're supposed to say in 2025, we're supposed to say Homo erectus, Heidelberg Genesis, Neanderthal, Denisovan, human. Yet for at least two of the Denisovan and Neanderthal, we coexisted with those. That's
Yeah.
not who we are. That's not a joiner. That's not. They're different. They are separate hominids to us, to Homo sapiens. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and the old man of La Chapelle, he was found in France. Now he's got more of a skull there. We can see here. And look, obviously, because we're deep in this research, we're starting. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to look at skulls differently. I can see the differences. I can see the eye sockets, the brow ridges,
Yeah.
and I can start to see, an older hominid, for want of a better term, right?
Yeah. The brow
Now,
ridge. You can see the brow
yeah.
ridge. Yeah.
Mm. So then it was like, okay, this Homo Heidelberg Genesis, they said they used stone tools and fire. Now, okay, how do they know that? In the Sema cave in Portugal, they found hand axes, charred bones, burnt earth. And again, in the Sema cave was Neanderthal and this Homo Heidelberg Genesis. They practically cross over. And from what I can understand and see, they're same, but different, if you know what I mean. Like they're very similar. I didn't get into the, I had to put it down at some point, right? It's like, so how do we differentiate between Heidelberg Genesis and Neanderthal? It's an interesting question. I think they're trying to be the reason that there's Heidelberg Genesis is another one in the list is that they're out to 800,000 years, Loomis.
Okay.
Like the oldest evidence is out to 800,000 years. Again, we're suspending our disbelief as far as dating is concerned, aren't we? We're saying that we believe what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, England, Spain, Germany, France, Italy, and potentially India. This one was found. This Heidelberg Genesis. That's everywhere, man. You know what I mean? Like what? That's all major continents, is it not? Apart from Australia.
Yeah.
How are they spread across that far and that much of the planet? Like that, what was it? I started thinking about population densities. If they are across that many different places on the world, when we're talking about population densities of this Heidelberg Genesis, how many of them was there? Like it's it's hard to wrap your head around. Considering I hadn't actually heard of that one until I did this research.
Yeah, I hadn't either. Now, are we to assume, such as Lloyd Pye would talk about the Denisovans, Neanderthals? He had like 4 different types of what we call Bigfoot, you
Mm.
know, and he was saying there were 4 different types of hominids like that. Are they one and the
Mm.
same? That's a question.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question, and the so I went from Neanderthals. Well, I fell down a Heidelberg Genesis rabbit hole because I didn't realize they actually existed until I did the research. Then I went to Homo erectus, which is Bigfoot, theoretically. Okay. Now, if I said to you, do we have a complete Homo erectus skeleton, what would you say?
I would say probably no.
No complete skeleton.
Yeah.
And same again. So Turkana boy was discovered in 84 in Kenya, 1.6 million years old. Now, Turkana boy was tall and skinny, and it's this research, man, and they in all these topics, Loomis, it's like they curate an answer. So it's like, yes, we found Turkana boy, and it's the most complete early human skeleton we've ever found, and we found 90% of it. No, it was a skeleton worth 40%, and then they found. So, and then they're like, oh, we extracted 90% of the skeleton. So, okay, did you extract 90% of 40%? Or what are we actually talking about here when we talk about the Homo erectus? And it all keeps going back to human origins, Smithsonian, right? So many things in this topic lead back to the Smithsonian. And I don't know if you've ever tried to research this Smithsonian stuff. It goes
Yeah.
nowhere. It sends you
Yeah.
in a loop.
They're
That's all
not
it
very
does.
deep. They're not very deep a lot
No,
of times.
no,
No.
no, no. Oh, it basically it's we know, you know, and we know. Homo erectus have been found across a wide range: Africa, East Asia, China, Indonesia, Western Asia. A whole lot of them were found in China. It's one of the most things Here we go. Where is Turkana boy? Oh no, I went to Paracas.
Well, that's part of the fossil record they're not considering either as Paracas. I mean,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
we talked about that last episode.
Well, I went down to
Ah,
the.
yes.
So that's Neanderthal, right, on the
Yeah,
left
that's
hand
what I
side.
found in my research. Was that
Mm.
the ones they found in Belgium?
Yes, but
Yeah,
again,
okay.
this skeleton is a mishmash. That's not all one skeleton,
Aha.
right? They don't have, like I said, they've found over 300. They have over 300 partial skeletons of a Neanderthal, And between those 300, they've built a couple of people, basically. That's not an actual. I was trying to find. I thought I had Turkana Boy up here as well.
You know what it reminds me of is when I was a kid. I recollect. I don't know if you did or not. They were in Australia, but GI Joe figures. Did you have those?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could get the screwdriver and put it in its back, and you could take the screw out, and you could dismantle the figure, and then you could mix and match parts and make your own figure. I did that.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of what they're doing here.
That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. There you go. Here's Turkana Boy. I wanted to show you Turkana Boy because it is a pretty full skeleton. Okay, that's the best picture that I found. It's not too bad, right? That's Turkana Boy. However, again, they're saying that from that's a young boy, tall, skinny, in these teenage years, apparently early teenage years, and they extrapolate that everything from about Homo erectus pretty much from that. However, at the same time, they keep finding these remains in different spaces and places across the planet. So it's like, how do those two things go together? I'm not sure how those two things go together because how are we having multiple hominids? Again, we're having multiple hominids across multiple countries and continents and remember that Homo erectus goes out to 1.6 million. That they're happy to say that. They're happy to say that it goes out to 1.6 million.
Yeah.
That's a long time, right?
Yeah.
And again, we coexisted with how many versions of this? Because if the Heidelberg Genesis coexisted with Neanderthal coexisted with Denisovan, and we have Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA within us, but they basically, when I started digging into that, they're like, oh no, that was early Denisovans and Neanderthals. That wasn't the new ones. The sapiens weren't around then. So, well, do you know that? Or what are we actually talking about here? And where's the joiner? They never talk about, it's always what I found in this skeleton research is there was always these catch cries. It was like, oh no, this is early human, early Homo sapien. This gives us an indication into what came before us. Well, as far as I can see it, as far as I understand it, when you start researching them side by side, we all coexisted together at some point, right?
Yeah.
If you then and we haven't even gotten to the weird stuff yet. Right? This is just stuff that they will openly say is correct and true, but there's no joiner. There's no here's Lucy, here's us, here's what joins us together. No, it's here's erectus, Neanderthal, Denisovan, Heidelberg Genesis. I didn't get to Homo floresiensis. I didn't get to the little people yet. I sort of had to put it down because I'm like, we're just going to talk about skeletons for 2 hours, right? However, all these remains have been found in different caves all over the planet and on all made, different continents. It's like, well, how many was there? What were they actually doing? And again, it's remains. Again, it's partial bones. We found Neanderthal remains. We found partial bones. We found partial this, partial that. There's no, apart from Turkana Boy, apart from some of the larger Neanderthal skeletons that we've found, they're pretty complete. But outside of that, not really. There's nothing there. It's all built on a bed of sand.
And how are we supposed to be related to these things when the arms are too long? The brow ridge, the eye sockets. There's just so many things that are not human, and we're still back to that again. It's like we don't share human bones. Primates and humans don't share the same bones.
Nope, and we don't share any. There is familiarity with these hominids. They're obviously upward walking. There's familiarity, but again, the arms is the thing, isn't it? You look at the size of the arms of all these things, and it's different. It's different. You would almost say, you could almost say that some of these hominids look like they have evolved from apes or chimps, or you know what I mean. They look like that could be the natural evolution here on this planet. But
Yeah,
Homo sapiens stands apart from that. It stands apart from that. Um, oh, here you
absolutely.
go. I made a note here. Mainly bits of skulls. Okay, so what's that about too? Why are we only finding bits of skulls?
Hmm.
Constantly throughout the research, all the skeletons was remains, which could be fragments of anything, right? So basically, they say partial bone, and they say remains, which
So
means
these are
they're just
too small to actually say they're for sure a skull or something.
yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
found. I think they know the skull fragments because it's like little bits of skull cap. You know what I mean? Like, so you
Okay.
can tell that it's from the skull. But most of the other remains that they found, and it doesn't matter what you're talking about, whether it be Homo erectus, Heidelberg, Neanderthal, Denisovan, it's just fragments of bone. Now, a thought that I had about that, it's like, well, if the bone was, let's take the jawbone or the toe bone or whatever it is, in the Denisova cave, why is there only that much bone left there? Sure, if it was sitting on the surface, it might have deteriorated, taken by animals. I suppose you could talk your way through that. But you would think if it was a burial site, there'd be a bit more than a toe bone and a bit of a jaw and a couple of teeth. Like it's interesting, I don't quite know how to reckon with it. Like I got to the
Yeah.
point where it's like, well, how do you? It's almost like you could spend multiple episodes on each thing, because it's like, how do you get to that? How do you go from a tiny two teeth and tell us all that stuff? Like, I don't understand that. I don't see how it's possible. I don't, it's,
It is a bed of sand. It truly is.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
And I finished with the Paracas skeletons because I've been curious about the Paracas skeletons the whole time.
Yeah.
Now, you Google, do we have Paracas skeletons? And they're like, yes, we do, Loomis, we do. They found 300 plus skeletons in 1928 in Paracas in Peru. We
Okay.
found over 300 of them there wrapped in textile. There's all sorts of stuff. And then you go, can you show me a picture of a Paracas skeleton? No. No is the answer to that. The closest thing that I got, and the one that kept going around and around and around, and it was the loop again, right? If anyone, you get stuck in this research, it's the loop again. You get in a
Yeah.
loop where they just send you the same information, same information, same information.
Hitting the
Now
wall.
that is the yeah. Look at that. It's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Now apparently they found 300 bundles similar to this, wrapped in textiles. That it was like a mummification process. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, I I wanted to read this to you because this is the AI overview. Okay. Yes, numerous mummified Paracas individuals have been found and their skeletal remains, including skulls, are preserved in archaeological sites in Peru and are considered complete by scientific standards. I want to come back to complete by scientific standards. Although they are wrapped in elaborate textiles called mummy bundles, while the unique elongated shape of some of the Paracas skulls is striking, it is understood by scientists to be a form of artificial cranium deformation, a practice of intentional head shaping done in childhood, not evidence of a non human origin, Loomis.
Okay. Well, that's all we need to know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Put it
Yep.
down. Put it
Facts.
down. Yeah.
You can also do the AI overview of 9/11, and they'll tell you that 19 men with box cutters. Yeah.
That's right. Everyone got attacked with toothbrushes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I thought that's curious because we both know that's not true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I brought up the initial DNA analysis of
Oh, we're paused here. Let's see. Driffin? Hello, hello. Well, here. So Triffin gets back. I know that this DNA has been taken from these elongated skulls, and they were confirmed to be about 2,000 years old. And well, we lost Triffin. I'll have to get him back here. But yeah, so that was Brian Forster, who is definitely the man to go to with this information. Is Brian Forster by far. He's done the most research and really got down to the nitty gritty stuff that we need to know about these. I think ridiculed, yes, all the time. All this stuff's ridiculed. But yeah, the DNA was tested about 2,000 years old, which isn't that old when you consider that they were side by side with regular humans. And of course, they're going to tell you it's cradle boarding and all that, but it's not, because, well, there's some interesting things about it. And I'll hopefully get Triffin back on here. Let's see what's happened. Must have. Okay. We'll wait on Triffin here. Weird. This will be a little edit out of here. Huh. Strange. Fuck. Ah.
Back. We're getting too close to the truth.
Yeah, they don't like that. They wiped you right off. Okay. Well, I'm just going to cut this part out,
We can just cut them. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird, man. I don't. Everything's fine down here. It literally just cut me off. And yeah.
Well, there was a gust of wind out here. There was a gust of wind. Maybe that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I did. Well, I do. I know I had to reconnect. Something happened down here, but there's nothing. Like everything's charged. Like it shouldn't have happened, sort of thing. It just kicked me off. Like I said, man, we're getting too close to the truth again.
Yep, I've had that happen.
Mm-hmm. So where was I? I was at Paracas Skulls, right?
Skulls, so yeah, the DNA.
So the DNA of Paracas. Initial DNA analysis of Paracas elongated skulls released with incredible results. Now this article's from July 23, but we know that the work was done fairly long time ago. About 2014, Mr. Forrester did his initial scans, right?
Right.
So I figured some of this stuff, I just wouldn't mind reading this because it's actually quite a well-written little article here. So Paracas is a desert peninsula located within the Pisco province of the Inca region on the south coast of Peru. It is here where Peruvian archaeologist Julio Tello made an amazing discovery in 1928, a massive and elaborate graveyard containing tombs filled with the remains of individuals with the largest elongating skulls found anywhere in the world. These have come to be known as the Paracas skulls. In total, Tello found more than 300 of these elongated skulls, and I want to come back to what they say is real and what's subjective and what's not, right? Okay. Which are believed to date back to around 3,000 years. Okay, so DNA analysis has now been conducted by one of the skulls, and expert Brian Forrester has released preliminary information regarding these enigmatic skulls. It is well known that most cases of skull elongation are the result of cranial deformation, head flattening, or head binding, in which the skull is intensely deformed by applying force over a long period of time. It is usually achieved by binding the head between two pieces of wood or binding in cloth. However, while cranial deformation changes the shape of the skull, it does not alter its volume, weight, or other features that are characteristic of a regular human skull. Now, you know the answer to this question, Leumas. Why did they bind their skulls? So they could look like who?
Yeah. exactly, the gods.
The
And
gods. Yeah.
the like, there's no, why would anybody want to look like that anyway, unless there was some
Mhm.
big influence to look like that. I mean,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. So this is the Paracas skulls, however, are different. The cranial volume is up to 25% larger, 60% heavier than conventional human skulls, meaning they could not have been intentionally deformed through head binding or flattening. They also contain only one parietal plate. We talked about that in one of the episodes, didn't we? The rather than two. The
Yep.
fact that the skull's features are not the result of cranial deformation means the cause of the elongation is a mystery and has been for decades. Mr. Juan Navarro, owner and director of the local museum called the Paracas History Museum, which again, during the chaos of the last 5 years, all the really cool Paracas skulls have been taken away, apparently. I've heard that a few different times. Um, houses a collection of 35 of the skulls, allowed the taking of samples from 5 of the skulls. The samples consisted of hair, including roots, tooth, skull bone, and skin. And this process was carefully documented by photos and video. Samples of the 3 skulls were sent to the geneticist, although the geneticist was not given any information about what they came from until after the genetic testing, so as not to create any preconceived ideas. That's a problem I'm having down here. Trying to get stuff carbon dated and carbon tested. As
Mm-hmm.
soon as as soon as I say anything about where it came from, and we both know what I'm talking about, no one wants to talk to me. It's crazy.
Yep.
It's
It
weird.
is a
It's weird.
wall that I'm hitting to with some soil I got from a site that
Hmm.
will be revealed. I think I found someone that doesn't care, but I've been through multiple places where they're like, "No, well, you got to get permission from the landowner." What's this for? They're
Mm.
all regulated. It's not as
Hmm.
simple as just going, "Oh, I want to see how old this thing is."
Yeah, yeah. I'm hitting that wall down here as well. So, which is interesting. Wouldn't we just want to know? Like, anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So just for everybody's understanding, the results of the testing, it had mtDNA, mitochondrial DNA, with mutations unknown in any human, primate, or animal known so far. But a few fragments I was able to sequence from this sample indicate that if these mutations will hold, we are dealing with a new human-like creature very distant from Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovans. The implications, of course, are huge. I'm not sure it will even fit in the known evolutionary tree. He added the Paracas individuals were so biologically different they would have not been able to interbreed with humans.
yep.
Now, yeah.
And their eye
So
sockets are different too. Their eye sockets are
massive,
different.
oh,
Yeah,
totally different. And
yeah,
and it's the hair staying on the skull after the skin's gone as well. That's weird, like that's an odd
that's
thing.
true.
Like, like the red haired Paracas skulls. It's it's weird. So again, Google says, are the Paracas skulls real? No, they're not real. There's no such thing as different humans and different people. Uh, go back to sleep.
Yeah,
But it's like,
yeah,
oh well, and it was again fascinating to do this research, man, because it's like when you look at it, because we already know, we're not coming in blind, right? We already know some of this stuff. We already know that some of this
yeah,
stuff is real. There's definitely a narrative being pushed by Google. There's definitely a narrative. Like, it's definitely the AI overview is is in the algorithm, because it's like, how do you, again, subjective, right? They say we have complete skeletons. No, we don't.
no. Actually,
Not
that's
in
one
most
of the
cases.
critiques on even. I've never seen a complete skeleton of a Paracas with a head attached. You always see the skulls, but
No,
where are the bodies? Yeah,
it's that one picture that I showed you before. Well, actually, that was the picture I was showing you before we got cut off.
yeah. That's it. That's it, or at
Yeah.
least just one. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, and again, we talked about before, not trying to reiterate everything we already said, but like, how would the species survive? I mean, let's just think about a normal vagina giving birth. Ouch,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
unless they had different vaginas that were, you know,
Well, there's got to be
different.
something different about them. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
as it said, if the research holds, and the thing is, this is back 2014, we know that they took that sample's now been confirmed,
Hmm.
and the Paracas skulls are not human.
Yeah.
They're a different. They're another different Homo sapien,
Yeah.
but they just don't exist. They don't exist in the modern nomenclature. Um, you know, and the thing about Paracas as well is did the candelabra on the side of the mountain? That's Paracas.
Yeah.
You know that massive geoglyph that looks like the candelabra on the side of the mountain?
Hmm.
The you know that one?
I think I know what
The
you're talking about. Yeah.
um hang on a second. Well, what have you got, mate? Let me find that
Well, I mean, with skeletons, I kind of just let you go ahead and because that's your rabbit hole you did. But I would just say that giant bones don't fit in this whole thing, and we know there has been giant bones, and my research here in Hawaii, and I've probably said this, but for some reason, the elites, the chiefs, the people here in Hawaii hid their bones from the commoners. And they didn't want the commoners to get their bones because they thought the commoners would get their power. So they hid their bones. And it's interesting. Why would they hide their bones? There must be something a little bit more to that. And there's also a little bit more to well, I think it's even in the Bible. I think Jesus says something about your bones are not right or something to one of those Pharisees, something I'm
mhm.
totally spitballing, but yeah. Yes. Okay. So I see what you're saying now on screen here. Um,
Yeah, the Paracas candelabra, the
yeah.
Atlas Obscura, that is found in that's Paracas, man. There's massive geoglyphs found
Hmm.
all over the Peru region where
Well,
these
the Nazca
skeletons were found.
lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all that stuff. That's in the same area.
Yeah.
And again, what are we talking about here? Number one, how do you know what you're doing if you're doing that from the ground? How do you know what it looks like?
Yeah.
And number two, why did they do it? They told us why they did it is so the gods could see them, right?
Yep.
That's the reason they created these geoglyphs for the gods, right? So the gods could see them. You know, what are we talking about? Like
And
it's
why were the gods? Why were the gods way up high? So
exactly.
yeah.
The gods are
Yeah.
always
Why?
up in the high. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And look,
Always.
again, that was, again, I found Heidelberg Genesis. I didn't even know that existed when I started that research. But that was only four. So it was, Denisova, Neanderthal, Heidelberg Genesis, Homo erectus. There's Homo floresiensis. There's the little people, mainly, again, found in Indonesia, but also found in Europe. Right now, Indonesia and Europe are not next door to each other, right?
No.
Like they're not. So, yeah, again, what are we actually talking about here? Then again, yeah, you've got the giant bones. Like, if you just put the what if 1% is true, which is what we like to do on the giant bone stories, they're real. I know it was Andrew Collins and Hugh Newman a few years ago. It might have been during the chaos that we, can't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah.
Because they had nothing to do. They were locked down in England. They thought, oh,
Yeah.
surely there's no evidence of giant bones here in England, in the UK. And I think they've written 2 books about it now. There is, right? Again, what if 1% is true about all the Smithsonian stuff? What if 1%, like we just keep going
Yeah.
down the line.
Yeah.
And again, none of these are Homo sapien, man. This is not us. This is not
No.
us.
And
These
it
are
doesn't
these are
go
variations.
right. It doesn't go with Darwin's theory whatsoever. Like that we
Nope,
could, you know, transition
nope,
like that. Hmm.
nope, nope. And look, again, it was one of those things where the skeleton rabbit hole I sort of went down and backed out of, went down and backed out of. So that I apologize. That took a little while to get through. However, I just thought it was important to cover the fact that yes, we do have some skeletal remains that we talk about. However, not a
Hmm.
lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
No,
Again,
no. Well,
it's all
this is a thorough
documentation.
series. This is a thorough series. So I'm happy to go deep because we're coming with some pretty crazy claims here that basically we were altered. We were interfered with. The
Mm,
natural evolution of humans. Something happened here. That and where are we from? Why are we here? These are important questions. So yeah, no, I think that was a great little session on skeletons there. Good work.
mm.
Yeah.
So take us from here, mate. Where do we want to go?
Well,
Where do we go from here?
well, we left off last on kind of like the makeup of humans themselves.
Mm,
I I left off with a question on the last episode. I basically said, um, how could we devolve from being going with the idea that civilization is 6,000 years old, this is mainstream science. How could we
mhm,
devolve that fast from being like fit for nature? We're supposed to be like, totally uh the most evolved species in nature, a primate. How do we go from devolve that fast if we went from hunter gatherer to civilized in just 6,000 years? I mean, the inception of civilization is supposed to be like 6,000 years, and we lost the thickness of our bones and our
mhm,
king of the jungle status because what, we didn't need it because we joined civilization? That's just weird. And
mhm,
I mean, the only reason to regress from the durability of primate status to who we are now is because we lived in civilization and we didn't need the physical capabilities to live in nature anymore. But that doesn't
mm.
make any sense to the timeline they give us, nor does it make sense in Darwin's theory to process a process that takes like what, millions of years. Suddenly
Millions of
it took
years. Yeah.
only 6,000 years per their answer on how old civilization is. So it's crazy how sophisticated and technologically advanced we are as a species, but we're still so vague on our origins. It's just crazy. So I guess that's kind of where I left off with that question. Like,
Mm.
why would we go to civilization and then just suddenly we're not, you know, needing to use all those abilities?
Well, so first thought about that is that in the Masonic calendar, it's the year 6025.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Mm. So in the Masonic calendar, it's the year 6025. So that's 6,000 years ago. All right, there's that
Yeah.
number that keeps coming around. And when I found out that the Masonic calendar said it was 6025, I reached out to, I think I would have reached out to you in that I reached out to a whole heap of people and said, hey, what happened 4000 BC? And everyone went, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be nothing. The Masons would not have said that it's 6025 if nothing happened 4000 BC. So is that
Yeah.
just because they're going with the Genesis? Where does the 6,000 come from? Is that a Bible thing?
Well, it's
Is that
both. It's interesting because it's the Bible. They think that the whole Earth is 6,000 years old, but then you
yeah,
get
that's right. Yeah.
civilization being 6,000 years old. They say, like we went into from hunter
Again, is that
gatherer.
prior to Göbekli Tepe though? Is that prior to Göbekli Tepe? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
true. That's true. That's true. So that has been pushed back, but I don't know if does mainstream science really accept Göbekli Tepe as being 11 or 1,000 years old, or are they just like, well, we'll see, or
Well,
I don't know.
I think they have to because it's the. Though they don't have to. They don't have to. People will still obviously say that. However, due to their dating methods that they accept to be true, we are led to believe that the carbon dating found at the base of the pillars at Göbekli Tepe is 11,600 years old. It basically, Younger Dryas ends, Göbekli Tepe is built.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Um,
Well,
it's
so yeah, it has
in,
been pushed back, but yeah, that's 6,000 years old. I think what it is though. I had Paul Wallace on my show one time. A couple times I've had him on, but one time he talked about the Bible was there was damn it, it was a Hebrew. There was a King Hezekiah did a refinement of Hebrew culture around 6,000 years or so, maybe it wasn't that long ago, but he decided that he'd streamline things together and said, "This is our history from here on out," something like that.
Right. So he picked a day, and it's like, no,
Yeah,
no, anything before this day doesn't exist.
yeah,
Now, he picked day zero, basically, is what you're saying.
yeah. He kind of just he decided to do the refinement of Judaism and its culture, and basically from then on, we've been going with the fact that the Earth is 6,000 years old in the Bible. Yeah,
Mm. Well, look, I mean, yeah, we talk about the Bible. I find it fascinating that, the Book of Enoch, and I find it fascinating that Joe Rogan and all the UAP disclosure stuff has come back to the Bible and the Book of Enoch, and the fact that it actually says in the Bible that the gods came down and mated with the humans and that created us. It's like, well, hang on a minute, is that not saying that we were genetically modified? Is that not the story of the Sumerian text, which you have behind you there, which is pretty cool? Is that not, you know, what are we talking about here?
yeah,
And why is that ignored, even in the modern religious? Like, that's in the Bible. If you want to use the Bible, it's in the Bible that we were modified. The gods came
yeah.
down and mated with the humans. Like, that's what it says.
It's almost like they forgot to erase that part. Because if they
Mhm.
had that, it's just like I think it's just one little tiny chapter. It's like, or not a chapter, but a
Yeah, it's not a
what do they
small,
call
it's
it?
not a big book. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, it's
S-
like Genesis
Psalm
6 or
or
something.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's like, okay, well, okay, that happened. What else? And then that's it. Like
That's
the
it.
gods, they, yeah, came down and mated with human. They found the humans attractive, and like the Nephilim were born. Like that's it. But where are they in the rest of the stories? And yeah, it's interesting how they just sort of left that in there, or they forgot to edit that out. But the Bible is always incomplete to me when we know the Sumerian texts, Genesis especially, and the fact that the pyramids are not even mentioned once in the Bible. It's kind of weird too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
No,
But
definitely, definitely.
I think that maybe we move on a little and just say, with our human makeup, I always feel that our hearts and souls, those are the real amazing parts of us. That's where we get spiritual and our connection to the creator, the universe. Our
Hmm.
souls are otherworldly and divine, but our
Mm.
bodies actually are amazing. But I would say we've been Frankenstitched in ways that we can't reap the full potential. Like,
Yeah.
because obviously we've been shut off. So we're definitely part Earth and we're part something else because we also
Mm.
connect to nature. We are part Earth, and the more we are out in nature, the more we adapt to that earthly side. So we talked about in the last episode about toward the end there that hunter gatherers, and how you were in, I think it was Papua New Guinea, and you were like, yeah,
Mhm.
we have it all wrong. I mean, that
Mhm.
how these people live is like, so you can adapt to nature. And I think our earth side, when we get in touch with it more, is that, but we're still not quite fitting within earth either. We still, even the greatest hunter gatherers that lived in nature, they didn't completely live synonymous with nature. I mean, they have to watch
Mm.
out for everything, and they're kind of just an anomaly within nature. Man is just different, so we don't belong in nature. But civilizations too, they don't satisfy the earth part of our instincts, so we're kind of in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, it's curious that, isn't it? It's like yeah, I like where you're going there because there's something, I know there's a when we go hunting, it's we've got the radios and there's normally a few trucks and we're road training out to where we're going, and we start to get to the place and something different comes over you. It's like, take me to the call that comes over the radio that has happened like every time we go on hunting is take me to church. Right. Nature is our church.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
take me into the bushland and talk to me. Right. And there is something otherworldly and primal about that does reconnect us to this planet. So as you say, we're of Earth. However, we've created all these amazing things as well. So like there's a technological aspect that sets us apart from every other hominid, or the ability to create, I suppose. And then there's the instinctual hominid that we were, that is from here. You know what I mean? You sort of pick it up what I'm putting down. It's like there's
Yeah.
two sides to it. There's very much
Yep.
two sides to it. And how do you bring those two sides together? And I like the term Frankenstitched, because like we're not finished. We're not finished. You know, we've discussed this a little bit as well. We should be able to swim better. We should be able to deal with the sun better. We should be able to deal with this planet better than we do, and we can't. And the thing is, those versions of Homo sapien that are closer to what I would say is the evolved hominid, you know, we could say that could be Neanderthal or Denisovan, they are closer to the Earth. However, the further we get away from that, the less connected we are, to the point where, you know, it's one of those things. It's like I saw an article where it was telling people to put their bare feet on the ground. And I didn't think about that. I mean, if you live in a place like New York, when does your feet actually touch earth?
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I hate to let me just pause this real quick. My son is getting on a flight and he's having troubles here. Can I just?
Okay, mate. Just pause, but
yeah,
you're on.
yeah, just pause it. Okay. All right.
And we're back, guys. Yeah, Loomis's son is on his way to see him, and he had a bit of an issue. However, we also just got some news. Brian, who was with us at Cardwell, and he's been he helped me build the studio, and he passed away yesterday. So yeah, I'm in a little bit of a shock, mate, to be perfectly honest. So may he rest in peace, and
yeah,
we'll have to, yeah, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. We'll do another 15, 20 minutes or so, and then I've got some phone calls to make. So
yeah. Rest in peace, Brian. I never knew you, but that's.
Look, he knew of you, Leumas. Just so you understand, he knew. He watched the documentary. He was a big fan and follower of our work, and it's yeah. So hope you're resting wherever you are, brother. Hope you're resting.
Yeah. No, that's
65.
Wow, that's not long enough, though. You know.
No, man.
Well, I don't think. But
no,
everybody has
not
their
at
exit.
all. Yeah, everyone's got their exit point, man. Yeah, that's that one hits a little close to home. Or did he put the window in, man? You know what I mean? Like he put the window in the studio.
Yeah. So he's part of the sanctum construction and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's been part of UTC. He's got some of the glyph stuff. Yeah, he's got the molds and stuff from Gosford. So, yeah, okay.
Wow.
All right. Gee. So, anyway,
well, where were we here?
Yeah, look, let's finish. Look, I think we keep coming around to the fact that we were modified, right? And the fact that Homo sapiens are not from around here, I don't think. And and when we talk about the skeleton research as well, the skeleton research, there's never the joiner, right? There's never the missing link. Remember that? That's what they used to talk about the whole time, the missing link. Yeah. And the missing link isn't there. So, you know, and if we are, and I think the oldest Homo sapiens skeleton, so we talked about numbers, right? So we talked a little bit about numbers. The Denisovan stuff they're saying is out to 400,000. The Neanderthal stuff they're saying is out to 800,000, 400,000. Homo sapien is out past 300,000 now. So it's like, how many hominids existed on this planet at one time? Let's say 350,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good question. How many variations of humanoid we could say,
Yeah, bipedal,
or
humanoid, upward walking.
bipedal?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, we could go back to the fact that we don't genetically exist before 250,000 years ago with the um, mitochondrial DNA and the Y chromosome of the
Mm,
male. Actually, it varies, but both of them kind of don't go back beyond 250,000 years ago, which is very
mm,
interesting.
mm.
Um,
So, I mean, but
but
how? Well, look, I want to put a pin in that, right? So, I want to actually, because how does that work? How do those two things join together? So, the mitochondrial DNA doesn't go past 250.
yeah, and that's been
Mitochondrial.
established quite a while
Mm,
ago in the 80s when they kept wanting to go back, and like they thought, no, it's got to be older, got to be older, and they couldn't find anything mitochondrial wise. And then I think the Y chromosome, now that needs more research, I think, but the Y
mm,
chromosome of the male is different, where they sort of seem to be not going back any further than 250,000.
mm,
But what I think is interesting, and this is just that there are over 4,000 genetic defects, genetic deformities in the human genome, more than any other species on Earth.
mm-hmm,
So we're far from perfect, and and that kind of insults anyone who believes that Genesis, that we were created in God's image. And yet, I mean, yeah, the human body has some amazing things. Don't get me wrong. Like there's parts of our body that can regenerate ourselves, and we could be more amazing, but we're switched off. But there is a lot of defects. I mean, and that shows that there's something wrong. We're pretty amazing, but we're less perfected than we should be. I mean, we have
mm,
things like diabetes, bad backs, bad knees. Some people say human psychopathy. That's a big one, right? I mean,
mm,
that's about 3% of us have that. And I mean,
mm,
where's the greed gene from? Where's the violent gene from? Where
mm,
this is unique to just humans.
mm.
And
Yeah, I need to
primates should have,
destroy. I need to. Yeah, there's imprinting there, isn't there? If you start thinking about that, because we do things that other hominids don't do. Although and this is the question too. If we all coexisted together, did we just kill them all? Like, we outfucked them or outfought them. Like, is that where it's at? Like,
yeah, yeah, it could be, or we push them like we talked about earlier into their habitat, and that's what we call Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
mm,
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Because they can survive out there where we can't.
mm,
Um, but
mm.
yeah, primates should have those 4,000 genetic defects if we are related to them, but they don't.
Is it
And
4,000? Did you say 400 or
yeah,
4,000?
4,000,
Four four
over,
thousand? Is it
over
four?
four.
Really?
Yeah, we're not, you know, we
Mm,
should be more perfected according to the theory of evolution,
mm-hmm.
and
Well, we should be.
I,
Yeah, exactly.
I wrote this. I found this. Fruit flies are more evolved than humans in their own DNA structure than we are. That's we're more like, we don't have a purpose. We talked about this before. Where's our niche on planet Earth? Like everything else
Mm,
does, but we're just here doing
mm,
totally different things counter to the Earth. Like we destroy it. We live on it weirdly. We don't fit in. You know.
mm.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
no one, our generation understands the effect the Matrix movie had on us, right? But they always think
Yeah.
about the Matrix. The human race is a virus. It moves to every place and it consumes all the natural resources, and then it moves on.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong with that. Um, you talk about the telomere caps. Some of the stuff that we've actually our age has been capped to 120 years.
Yeah.
Like they can see that in the genetic sequence now that we. But then that tells me, so when they say it's been capped, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that we could, if we take that cap away, do our bodies then regenerate better?
Right. Right.
We don't regenerate our teeth. We don't, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different things that we don't do that we observe other creatures in nature to do that are from this planet that we don't do. And the fact that we have stardust in our bones, Like this is, our internal makeup is literally not from around here, and that's not an argument either. It's interesting stuff, man. It's interesting stuff. I think, where are we as far as that? I mean, we're going to have to wrap it up pretty soon.
Yeah.
We talked about
Um,
consciousness, talked about genes, uh,
I still got quite
homo.
a bit of stuff on genes, but yeah,
Mm,
we're kind of in the Homo sapien makeup and genes and
mm,
stuff, but that's where we're at.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Um,
Did you want to finish on some more gene stuff, or do you want to
sure.
start with some gene stuff on the next one?
I'll finish with a couple of things to give everybody something to think about, and then
Yeah. Okay.
we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Uh,
I sort of need. I need to sort of wrap it up, man.
yeah. This has been kind of a broken up recording. Sorry, everyone, but this is just life coming in. And, we're just
Mm.
two guys doing this on the side. So
Yeah. Yeah. I got up at five
it's like,
thirty in the morning for this one, and yeah,
yeah, yeah,
things have happened around us. Yeah. So finish with some genes, mate, and
sure.
we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, yeah. So molecular biology, which is the study of DNA, only started in the 1950s. So it's not. This is all new, and the human genome was only mapped in the 1980s. So we got to think that this is, within some people's lifetime here. We've only been seeing this. But I think the big deal with this is what separates all of us with the rest of the animal kingdom is the second chromosome. It's the dead giveaway. It separates us from animals. And the second chromosome is basically out of left field. We have only 46 chromosomes of the 48 chromosomes is what the animal kingdom has. We only have 46. So, yeah, that's a big one to think about. That why? So we're just another. It's just another anomalous thing about who humans are. It's like the second chromosome is really weird. It's just not like any other living thing on the planet, and we're missing two. We're missing two chromosomes that the rest of the
Mm,
animal kingdom has. So it's
mm.
pretty interesting.
It's modification. That's
Yeah.
evidence of modification. It has to be. It has
Yeah.
to be. And
Yep.
again, 4,000 genetic defects. As I
Hmm.
sit here in glasses with a sore back.
Yep.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong with the human, and it's just like here we're supposed to be related to basically a king of the jungle, like an animal that primates were durable. They could do anything. I mean, they could take on a lion, perhaps, maybe. Like we could, and here we're downgraded so fast. Why? And it can't just be because we live in civilization.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think it is. But okay, here's a question: were we downgraded as a hominid, as a Earth hominid, but were we upgraded as a human? Because again, what gives us soul, what allows us to communicate, what allows us to doing what we're doing right now, to build all the things that we've built. We were downgraded as a hominid, yet
Yes.
upgraded to a human. Or, you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm like?
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
interesting question. Mm,
I mean, some researchers land on the gods, with the little g, the ones that
mm,
say in the text that created us, that gave us too much of their own genes, and people were
mm,
actually getting too intelligent, and that's why they've had to modify a few times. Like, oh, we gave them too much. I think they didn't get it right a few times, so
mm,
they're like, oh, there's too much Earth in them, and But I land on the other side that the Earth species was too prevalent. That's why they had to shut off some of our DNA, and that explains non-coding DNA, junk DNA,
mm,
and 10% of our brains. Because if we could switch our DNA on, there would be, I think, a lot more useful functions, and perhaps that is why we have so many defects.
mm. Or who? I mean, we almost superhuman is the term that comes to mind. If we could turn our brains on, if we could turn our DNA on,
Hmm.
release the telomere caps that have been put there. I remember reading that as well. It's like these geneticists are like, well, it's been capped. It's been capped on purpose. How did they like? that's literal evidence of genetic modification that they let out into the world that everyone, again, no one cares. However, they let that out. Like, it's, yes, they can see in our genetic makeup, in our DNA strands, that we have actually been capped. And that, and yeah, junk DNA is one of those things. However, it's not junk DNA, it's old DNA, or it's stuff that we just don't use anymore. It's things that have been switched off, it's things that are not connected. And you would have to do that at a genetic sequencing level in order to make that work. And people don't contemplate that. It's a fascinating thing.
Yeah, it didn't just happen. And,
Mm.
and then of course that does coincide with I think it's in the Bible that no man should live no longer than 120 years from this point onward, which
Yeah, from this
was
point onward, yeah.
yeah,
That's the key
yeah.
there. Yeah.
And that's interesting too, because the Noah character who goes by Zaosudra, Utnapishtim, Atrahasis. I've read all these different tablets. He's the one that goes through the flood, and he has a long lifespan, but then everybody else after him doesn't. It's pretty interesting.
Well, maybe I was just thinking maybe that's where we leave it for today, and maybe we come back and what are humans part 4, because we keep threatening the Sumerian kings list, man. Maybe we use this vessel to go over the Sumerian kings list, because it starts at the top and it goes all the way down, and we could maybe mirror that with the pharaohs list as well, and then see if we can get some sort of timeline on there to see, because I think I'd like to have an extended discussion about how, when, why were we modified.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest picture. What we're talking about here is that we were tinkered with or interfered with, by an outside
I'd
race.
like to, yeah, I think so, and I'd like to do a bit of a deeper dive in that, and see what the actual evidence is. Right, there's an alternative origin story that we could share. Like, there's a few little ways that we can go down, because I do think we've done a pretty good job of covering off pre-human and early human, and I think let's get into some of the weirder stuff, and when we come back next time.
Yep, and we're just going to continue to show that we don't fit too, and it's just this is starting to get in just the beginning of the real juicy bits of this information, where we're like, we've set it all up. We've set it all up. Now we're going right into the juicy bits.
It took us 4 hours to get to here, or 5 hours, or however many hours it is. Yeah.
I think we got two dot points.
Yeah. I told you I fell down a skeleton rabbit hole. Leumas was like,
good, though.
Can we do part 3? I'm like, I'm not ready to do part 3. I'm 5 pages into research. So, well, mate, it's always a pleasure sitting down with you. A bit of a broken session there, and it sort of ended on a bit of a somber note. However, always a pleasure, man. And
always.
That's look, we'll dedicate this one to Brian.
Rest in peace,
may
Brian.
he may he rest in peace, man. I hope he's hope he found the peace he was looking for.
That's a somber note, but it's just life. Life comes in.
It's life, man. We're getting older. Everyone's getting older. It is what it is, man. So go and hug your loved ones, guys, because that's what I'm going to go and do, because I've actually got to start work now. So I'm not too sure how I'm going to deal with that. However, I'll talk to you soon, man.
Okay, brother.
Say good day to your son for me, and we'll catch up in the near future for What Are Humans Part 4. Are we going to? I don't know. Look, it could be 5 parts. It could be 5 parts.
Looking at my notes, and might even get up to 6. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll just keep going, man. We'll keep going till it's finished.
Snail pace.
Yeah. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate everyone's support, time.
Thanks, everyone.
And we'll talk soon.
All right.